Hello and welcome back to Busy Pro Fast Wellness. I'm Alan Welsh, and today we are diving into the second part of my interview with Stefy Vaclavikova, who is a mental fitness growth coach for teachers and educators, and she helps them to attract their ideal students by working on their mindset. Now, I left the first interview with a key question about mental resilience. So, without further ado, I shall see you on the other side. Busy professionals, they need to cultivate that resilience and have that growth mindset to navigate setbacks in their wellness and their careers. How can they cultivate that resilience in order to get as much fortitude as possible psychologically to keep going in the face of adversity?
I guess in my case, what I do is I always say, this is just temporary.
Yeah, okay.
So whatever setback you have, it's a temporary thing.
Yeah.
That's the first thing. And then the second one, you try to see how you could convert it into a gift or opportunity, right?
Yes.
Sometimes you just have to accept, well, not you have to, you choose to accept things and don't do anything else about it. But maybe at some point you feel like, how can I look at this situation and see it as a gift? Or why was this supposed to happen? How can I convert it into something positive that will actually help me on my journey in my life? So I would just say, just look at every setback and challenge with this question, how can I convert it into a gift?
Fantastic. That's something which I do know something about as well, because we both did a course, didn't we, a while back?
Yeah.
And that was one of the main key takeaways I recall. And that happens all the time, doesn't it? Because you do. Sometimes you can go through life and you are in that situation where you are reactive to stuff that goes on around you because you're not in a place where you could necessarily control it, where you can always control it, really, but you don't know that you can control it. That's the difference. And something bad happens and you have to think, right, there can often be some glimmer of positivity from that setback. It could be something you can lose time. I got a new computer recently and I spent an hour and a half, just all the keys suddenly started acting in a strange way and some of the icons were different. I was like, well, what's going on? I'm in the process of trying to find the solution, which was one key, which I didn't know, regardless of watching all the videos. Thank you very much, for all those videos of me going, I learned so much about this computer just by going through and trying to understand what had happened to it, because I'd accidentally pressed some FN key at the end. But
Yeah, so basically you were trying to convert it into some kind of fun, beneficial situation. So now maybe you can even help your friends or somebody else if they have a similar challenge.
now I was thinking about putting a little post up to explain to people if they ever invest in a Mac, be careful of that.
Yeah, maybe you can tell me as well, Alan, because I messed up so many times with my laptop and I just couldn't switch it.
Yeah, it's the FN key at the end there. Yeah, watch out.
Okay.
Watch out for that one. It can just change all the icons, the question marks, etc. But no, that's a really sort of a facile example. But when bigger things happen, like recently for me, all the tiles on my terrace just fell off overnight. They've been there for 9 years since I've been living here, and they just fell off. And it was like, oh, okay, let's deal with this. And I learned a lot about tiling during that process. So if it happens again, I can help people. I can grout now. That's good. That learning process is always good.
Yeah. Skill just because of that setback or challenge. I guess a challenge for me was to lose the job in the middle of COVID and not having enough money to survive. And I tried to convert it into a gift, and basically I became an entrepreneur.
No, that's great. That's fantastic. And the same thing, in fact, to some extent with me and that period of time, it enabled me to realize that if you niched down, I went into another area, into pharmaceuticals, you could get your value, your worth by doing that. It was a great learning curve for me. Okay. Can you describe that feeling for you on a positive sense of recognizing when people recognize your worth and how that has impacted your life now by having that value?
It just feels great, Alan, and I just had a few snippets of different moments when either teachers, because now I work with teachers, or before psychologists, or even before students, when they were sharing some moments with me, how much they feel they have progressed uh, because I guided them in their lives. So it feels great. You feel like this is my purpose, and when it feels like you're in the right place, and I think like all over your body, you just feel these happy, good feelings.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I know from personal experience from your work, Steffi, that you helping teachers has led to them having greater confidence and clarity and that joy that comes out from the teachers as well as you, because you've managed to do that. And that's not just within the classroom, is it? That's also in many of the aspects of their lives. So you have to differentiate between that class student setting and also when you take that outside into the daily life of applying those things in those mindset growth sessions. There's a heck of a lot of value in those sessions. So that comes right
Mm.
through, that joy.
Yes. And I would say one thing, Alan, I don't know how you feel about this, but when I am going live or when I have these mindset workshops and everything, first of all, I have to enjoy it myself. So I have to be
Mm,
engaged. And that's why, when you speak about one topic again and again, or let's say you have your podcast and you're used to doing it and you just start feeling, I don't want to say bored, but kind of like it's not as interesting and exciting as it was in the beginning. So then when I feel like I always have to innovate, to introduce something new, to challenge myself, because if I'm engaged and I'm enjoying it, the more people will perceive the value of what I'm
yeah.
showing to them even
Yes.
more. So that's one thing. But sometimes you do something and it feels like, oh, this is so natural to me. I don't even think it's so special. So you share something and then you don't expect a kind of nice comment or beautiful comment because you didn't expect like it would make an impact on somebody else's life. And then when you hear these beautiful comments
Yeah.
and feedback and just the win they share with you, I sometimes
Yeah.
feel like crying, like, wow.
Yeah.
And I didn't even mean it to say it in such a way, but it made impact on somebody else's life. So I feel like sometimes without even knowing, we make impact on other people's lives and we bring
Yeah.
value.
No, exactly. And it's interesting what you just said about this idea that you go along on the two things really. One was that you can carry on and you sort of had that need because you're doing it for yourself and you're thinking, right, I am in this process. And it maybe you question yourself, is it
Mm.
becoming stale? I'm doing the same thing. But then, of course, that for me personally, and I'm sure for you, because you just said it, you do have that need to reinvent yourself, to provide something different. But then, on the other hand, when somebody says something, because you think, well, some of the stuff you do, you think, well, that's so obvious because you've been doing it such a long time and you take it for granted and you forget that other people are not as aware of this stuff which you have think, oh, I don't really need to say that. We talk about daily consistency and all that sort of thing, and that's obvious, isn't it? Well, no, it's not always obvious. There's always people there that appreciate that sort of stuff.
So one thing is not always obvious, but another thing is you've heard it a lot of times from many people.
Yeah,
It's the way that another person said it, in what context, with what maybe intonation, in what way, it applies even more to you, or maybe you're open to listening to it at that moment. Because there were many concepts I already have heard from different teachers and coaches and philosophers, and I knew about it and I liked it. But then when one coach said it in that context that made more sense to me,
yeah.
it was like, wow, I never thought of it in this way.
Good. That's great to hear that because I do worry sometimes that I might be inadvertently regurgitating the same type of content. But as you say, if you can hit the note and you can do it in such a way and you get a different angle on that content and you I mean I respond to content I think well that's amazing but it's really the same thing I've already seen but it's still impactful so
And even Alan, I listened to your podcast about your 30th birthday celebration, and you would say it's just a random story. Like I don't even kind of educate people or teach people about anything new. It's just a joyful
yeah
story that I wanted to share. But as I was listening to it and how your day went, and you didn't plan everything to happen during that day, maybe just one thing was planned,
yeah
but everything else wasn't. And I just admired you, like, wow, how he could just go through the day with such a flow and energy. And like all of these beautiful things just kind of like came up or showed up for you.
Yeah.
So I learned even from that, even though for you it was like, oh, I'm just recounting or I'm just sharing a story of mine that is not as interesting. But actually,
Yeah.
it was interesting, the story, but at the same time, how you were flowing through all of that. So I did have a takeaway, a massive takeaway from there.
Oh, great.
And
Good.
that's what I think happens. So sometimes we do some things, if we do it with the best intention, even without exactly knowing what we want people to take away from it, people take whatever they need to. So we may read one poem, all of us, or watch one film,
Yeah.
but everybody will take something else from that film. There's this thing with your podcast, and it's,
No, that's you just mentioned something which I didn't really think about, and that's made me think again about what I did on that particular day, and that it was a flow state. But I will say that a lot of the things I did in the past, and probably to some extent now in the present, do result from flow. I do have this genuine belief, and this might sound a little bit out there, but that you do kind of create your own luck. And if you have that kind of demeanor where you are willing just to go with the flow with certain constraints, of course, you can't spend your whole life doing that because that would be tantamount to total hedonism. But that day was a hedonistic day. Things did just fall into place naturally because there was that sort of flow state, even despite having to teach in the morning, which was also wonderful because I had such a great time and
yes.
they were lovely students.
And the birthday cake, or like the surprise, I don't know if it was with the birthday
They
cake,
brought in
but
lots of, there was cake, yes, they brought in cake, yes, cake and carver, yes,
yes,
yeah,
the cheap version of champagne,
yeah.
right? That's what.
You could get some decent carver. I probably shouldn't have said that. I hope not too many Spanish people were listening.
Don't worry, we can
Terrible,
edit this part.
terrible carver that, but no, it's good. Carver's good stuff. It's the same as cremant in France, it's the same thing. It's
Okay.
just it's the brute version, so that's absolutely fine. But yeah, no, so you've made me think of a different angle about that particular episode, which I just created. So, insights from other people here. So thanks for that. Good.
Yeah.
I think I haven't really got anything else I'd like to ask you. I think we've kind of covered quite a lot of different things here, and it's been quite a nice little chat. Is there anything else that you'd like to talk about or mention in the context of what you have done, what you plan to do in the future, or anything that you would like to leave on?
I guess because I'm on your podcast and it's for busy professionals, and I consider myself being a busy professional, I'm consciously learning right now how to be productively busy, kind of like productive, but not busy in a way just doing something and not really enjoying and being consciously present in it. So I guess my 2 words for 2025 are fun and flow. And I think I mentioned that to
Yeah.
you. And you said you would like to have less of that.
Yes,
It's funny.
exactly.
So actually, that's what I'm learning right now. I think I will always be an ambitious person, an achiever. I think that's what I am.
Yeah.
But I want to be less of a hyperachiever. I want to be more like a healthy achiever who is enjoying her
Yeah.
life. And I just want to encourage everyone, even though they are busy and just life happens and there are a lot of things and projects, just don't forget to enjoy life and enjoy the process.
Okay.
And remember, you're a human being
Yes, totally.
in this body and world. So enjoy.
Yeah, no, I agree with you so much on that with the enjoyment and also you can enjoy within certain simple structures or frameworks, and they don't have to be too rigid in place. They can also be quite flowing. You can think, well, one day I'm going to get up, I've got my morning routine that I might do, but I might want to change that. I might not want to do that little bit of meditation. I might want to have a cup of coffee instead. There's no hard, rigid format. It's really how you feel, but it's kind of having that structure, but being able to break free of that structure as and when you feel that that's okay, and having that sort of self-compassion to do that. So I really believe that. So, when you do these kind of things and you just, so much joy, so much productivity can arise. I'm really pleased that you shared your story and how you overcome your struggles, and you've managed to manifest all that energy and that time management as
Yes.
well. That's really good. Okay. Thank you so much, Steffi.
Thank you.
And I'll see you in the very near
Thank you.
future.
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
See you.
Thank you so much. Bye. Bye, Alan.
Goodbye. Bye. So I hope you enjoyed that interview with Stefy. I'll leave all her contact details in the show notes, her LinkedIn, Instagram, as well as a link to Bowie Strategy, the Teacher Academy, where Stefy does a lot of work as a growth mindset coach within that organization. And I can thoroughly recommend it as well. So until next time, goodbye for now.